Hey, I'm Grant, and welcome back to Dead Rising 1 Shot Till You Drop. So, we're gonna go pick up the second case here. I do believe that all these are required. Little note is you may also notice that this is out of sequence for this game. Like in Dead Rising 1, that mission takes place way later. I think like on day 2 or... I think yeah, it's on like the end of day 2. And then here they have it's your second one ever. And I have to do these before I can go on and do the actual first mission with Carlito. Which, I don't know, I think maybe there's a way to skip them, or like maybe I don't have to. I'm not actually that familiar with with this game, and I'm not going to sit here and experiment that crazy when I actually kind of want to go try them out. Plus, I do need the levels. Fuck it, I also need a weapon. For the most part, all the spawns are pretty much the same. It's just hard because not all the weapons in Dead Rising 1 are in Dead Rising Drop Till You Drop. So you have to kind of improvise sometimes. Plus, they I don't know if I mentioned this, they close off a bunch of the areas of the game, and it's not even anything good. They just have like little velvet ropes up, and you just can't go around that. And they're obviously designed to just fuck with you. Like, look at this over here to the right. If I want to get up to Roastmasters, it's a whole fucking thing where you have to go basically all the way back to the movie theater and then go up that back entrance. Otherwise, you just can't get up there. That velvet rope is too strong. So I'm gonna go up and talk to these sisters. It's actually not that hard. Having played this mission like once or twice, you kind of just have to go straight up to him and just talk and kind of get him through. The fact that zombies spawn in and out makes it a lot easier than one might expect. Are you coming? Oh yeah, shit. There we go. Let's see if I can actually do this. Oh. There we go. I think the controls for this gun are like backwards. You pull basically what is the trigger, and then I think they should have the nunchuck be the pull out the gun instead of having the trigger do it. So one thing I appreciate in this game a lot is for the most part when you get grabbed, you have ample time to get away. Like they don't make it like Dead Rising 1 originally was, where if you get grabbed at all, you'd pretty much just take damage. So that is kind of nice because otherwise you would just you'd go down so quickly. Because you just cannot physically react to zombies coming at you. Like a lot of time you'll see a zombie like kind of just shamble up behind me because it literally spawned behind me. And it's like, fuck off, man. Fuck off. And I don't think there's anything you can do to control that because I think it's literally based off where you're looking. Because the game will actively deload zombies, not to be malicious, but if you look away, it's like, hey, we don't need to commit these resources to memory, so we'll just despawn the zombies. But then when you look back, it's like, oh shit, we need to put some zombies back. So it actually really fucks with you. And I think maybe the point of that was not to make it intentionally hard or crazy, but rather just to maybe have a focus on actually the journey. It's always hard, but it's never too hard. Awesome. I think the last time I did this, like, they both died and it was terrible. Now I can leave without a mission, because I've done all the ones that Otis has. And maybe I don't know, maybe I don't have to partake those missions, maybe I can just leave. I'll have to test that. But now I'm not timed, and I can just walk straight there. 2, you may have noticed that I got protein powder. I think it's based off the herb system, but I've never played Resident Evil. I really want to go play the new one, Resident Evil 7, and I think it might be what I'm going to be doing next. So when you level up, I don't gain more health. Instead, I get more like damage and something, I think. I don't know, it's super vague. It'll be like, I gain sub-attack damage. Like, well, I don't know what sub-attack is. It's really not clear. I think it's explained in the manual, but I wasn't going to go break out the manual just for that. So, instead, to level up your health, you get protein powder, and you take that, and you make a juice, and then you make the juice with the protein powder to make super juice, and then you drink that, and it fully heals you and increases your health. Like, I proceeded to get absolutely owned in a couple boss fights because I was running around with minimum health, but now that I know that, it actually helps a lot. Also, I can skip cutscenes. I was trying that for so long, and I couldn't figure out how. So, okay. So we're gonna go fight Carlito, which is, we're gonna go see the park, and we're gonna go see what comes to the park. And that protein powder, so which means I need to go hit up Colombian Roastmasters. In a way, I do like that they made juices more of a thing in Dead Rising 1. In Dead Rising 1, I feel like juices is something that everyone just forgets about. Because, one, no one knows the combinations beyond the obvious ones, like, oh, nectar from orange juice, yeah, that's a little bit easier. And there's no real need for it, because a lot of stuff like, yeah, Quick Step's great, but unless you're a pretty good player already, you won't know where and when to make it, in which case you probably don't need the Quick Step anyway. Or like Untouchable's great, but I'd rather just have like normal food. It's not worth the time. God damn, they're aggressive right now. And I like the fact that, at least with the healing, you're going there anyway, so maybe players will try and do other things on top of it. Like, even in Dead Rising 2, they seem like they took even a step back, because There's like only one good juice in Dead Rising 2, I think, and it's the, God, what is it called? It's the one that makes you... Painkiller. It's like when you mix 2 alcohol, which is like super overpowered. Of course, the only juice is like ridiculously good. Basically, you mix 2 alcohols, which means it won't make you throw up, and that's a pretty big deal, actually. And then it also halves all your damage. Like, hell yeah, I'll take that. So, that's great. And then everything else is just like, shit. I can tell, like, they totally, they nerfed books in this, speaking of juices and books, because of how powerful they were in Dead Rising 1 with those 3 chainsaws. There's like 1 or 2 books worth using. And I think it's also personal preference. Like, I know some people really swear by the leadership book. I'll sometimes grab it. But it's that drinking book. That's the amazing one. Come on. So I'd also like to point out that you may notice that the arrow has a little red tip next to it. It's a way, I guess, they wanted to help differentiate the fact that it's pointing forward or backwards, because it can be kind of hard if you're on like a standard def television. God, there's so much in this game. I just kind of go with the punches because I don't know why it does what it does. Like, sometimes you'll notice the zombies just like stall out, and I don't know if that's intentional or if it just kind of, how do I say, like, it kind of like boots down zombies so it doesn't need to start animating them. I think that's what happens, honestly. So like, oh, you're not near it, so the zombie's still loaded into memory, but we're not going to move it around because that's going to take up too much CPU and processing. So there are animals as enemies in this game. There are poodles that are all skinned to look like Madonna from that opening cutscene, and then parrots for some reason. And I really wish they would put some like a pet store in here, since they did basically kind of remake the map, because then at least it's like explained, like maybe they had a poodle and parrot show going on. You know, that's like, it seems like something like you could take 10 seconds to make that like one sign in Photoshop, put it somewhere, and then, hey, now it's canon, now it makes sense. Plus it doesn't help that, like, one, can animals get zombified? I guess in this game, but it's never made clear in any of the other Dead Rising games. God damn it. There we go. That's the first weapon I picked up. Shit. God, fuck off. But then, not only are they zombified, but the parrots, I swear, get like smarter, because they don't usually use their melee attack. Normally they'll come at you with like grenades and shit. It's like, fuck off. Oh my god. And they're everywhere. Like this isn't even outside. I think the North Plaza is just like littered with them. It's like, oh my god, can you fucking stop? Because you're just constantly getting like barraged by these guys. Like, I just want to go fight Cletus. What's with all these fucking parrots? And this game also gives like 0 fucks about giving you stun protection. So if you go down on the ground, guess what? A parrot's going to come and drop a grenade that's going to go off right as you get up, and you're just fucked anyway, so sorry. But luckily you can sneak in a pause, and then you just eat all your food and you're fine. So I guess it works itself out. Carlito fight is very nerfed because since going up and down doesn't work the same way as it does in the original, he comes down like immediately and you just kind of like do this awkward fight with him. Like here, this food court's like the one thing that's like normal size. But it almost feels like Frank's smaller because this entire area is like huge. And it's like super petty and just stupid compared to the original fight with Carlito. Like, it's not bad, but like you'll see he doesn't really like to use his gun that much, and it's compared to how hard it is in Dead Rising 1 when you first fight him. And he's an easy boss, let me tell you. There's a lot of times he's just like, I'm not going to use it, I'm going to kick you. The whole pause menu, I get that is a holdover from Resident Evil, but man, does it really, I think, take the tension out. And I think it works in Resident Evil a little bit more, where you would do a lot of that stuff outside of combat. Specifically, I think like back to like Resident Evil 1 and stuff. Whatever the one you played is like Leon and stuff. You actually had like only one zombie in a room, so you probably weren't going to reload during battle anyway. It was more about like taking time outside the battle, like, okay, is every gun reloaded? Make anything I need? And it's like still the food court. Oh, please. Yeah, there we go. And he just like snaps back up there even though he wasn't there in the fight. I don't know, what do you guys think of this fight? It's actually kind of fun. And actually, I'm really sad they didn't keep the original fight, because it would be perfect if they just had it so you can't get to him. And if they made like a carnival game where he was hopping in and out of the windows, that would be ideal in my mind. Because it's basically that. You're like pointing your Wiimote. There's tons of games that do that really well on the Wii. So it seems like, well, the one thing that was perfect, why did they change that?
I don't know.
Also, the B is missing from that sign. Which, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the B's on the other side. But there are things I think are slightly different. I don't know if they changed enough. Like, you'll notice, these are all pre-rendered videos. I don't know if I mentioned that. These are all, like, filmed on the 360 or on a dev build or something on a PC somewhere. And then they just get played back in this game. That's why I won't have any clothes I put on in the cutscenes. And any kind of layout that's changed for the game. Like if I'm in Entrance Plaza, like I said, how it's way shorter in this game. In all the cutscenes, it's still the really long Xbox 360 version because that's where they were made, essentially. And you don't really notice it that much in comparison to the other weird stuff in this game, but cutscenes are weird. Like later on, there's actually points where, because they're using the cutscenes from the 360 version, but they're not using the same kind of story exactly, they will have something happen in the cutscene and then immediately try to unexplain it in the seconds following it. Like, when we meet Cletus, something like that kind of happens, and I think it's just so silly. So I'm going to skip through this, because I feel like pretty much anyone watching this knows the story of this game. I'm not trying to actually go through and be like, this is the story of Dead Rising, because this is not the game you want to go watch. If you want to go watch the story of Dead Rising, go... I don't know if I've ever actually done like a cinematic playthrough of Dead Rising 1. I really should, because I've played this game, like, a lot. But I don't think I've ever actually recorded it. I did my original master run, which is where I saved everyone from level 1 and got a whole bunch of achievements. It was really awesome. But I highly doubt that I actually sat and watched the cutscenes, because I've seen them so many times. It's actually was an issue for me, is that when I got back into Dead Rising because of the remasters, and even just like doing stuff for the channel, I realized that since I never watched the cutscenes, I had developed some kind of internal personality for all the characters that didn't match their actual one. Like, I remember Brad being like a super nice guy, but really, him and actually everyone in this game is a huge asshole to everyone, which makes sense, but, because it's the whole zombie outbreak. But still, fucking parrots. It's like not even worth it to kill these guys, because there's just so many. And ammo's fairly scarce. Or you have to kill zombies for it. And I don't think parrots and stuff drop it nearly as much, because they need a couple shots. They're almost like tankier. And later on, there's more enemies that are in Dead Rising Top 2 Drop that aren't in the main game. And they all have kind of an interesting story behind that, usually. So I'll get to that when they come up. I don't want to like go and spoil all the secrets of what's different in this game before they happen, but ooh, are they juicy. Big thing, though, is I do intend to finish this game. I want to play it all the way through to see what's different, because some of the stuff like, how does the butcher fight work? How does the convict fight work? I've heard it's just apparently a quick time event, and then that's it. These poodles, the other issue is, like, all the weapons in this game are horizontal slash attacks. Like, half the weapons in this game just go right over these poodles. They really should have gone for rendering these in-game. I don't know, I'm not a Wii developer, but it seems like, man, that would have really helped. Like, I really would have loved to have seen this on an actual standard definition TV. I'm playing this on a 4K monitor, so this doesn't look particularly good. But I'm hoping they didn't, because you won't see this in the final video, but not only is this like a really low res, it's also like letterbox and column boxed, I guess you could call it. And it's got black bars all the way around. And it just seems like, man, if they could just done something about that, that would have helped a lot. If this game did not age well. Gameplay's great, but... See, like, look at this. They have this area blocked off. Like, why bother? It doesn't block any actual, like, playable space. It's just so you can't go on that side of the hallway. And I think maybe the point of it is so they don't have to do collision, and they don't have to have they can have a smaller zombie space. Because I think that's an important reason why they do that, is just so, well, if we only can have 10 zombies, well, we should shrink the space as much as possible instead of giving 10 zombies in an open field on top of it. What is this? Oh, I guess they cut out a store here, didn't they? Didn't they? Yeah. And so they just put those parasols there, and I was wondering, like, what is that? I really wish the first time I ever did a Dead Rising series, I had gone, and back then I edited out all my loading screens. Now it's a little bit harder. But I wish I had actually saved all of those so that I knew, hey, every time you play Dead Rising, just so you know, there's 30 minutes of loading screens. I would not be surprised if I had... I wonder if I've had... I bet I might have had 12 hours worth of loading screens just based off how much Dead Rising I've played. And one thing I love about the YouTube channel is being able to do as much as I do. Oh, shoot, hey, I forgot. This is why the case is here, is because you get the Queen mission on the way back. One thing that I thought was kind of interesting is the Queen mission happens a whole day later in Dead Rising 2 compared to Dead Rising 1. I had to go do some footage, and it was actually a real pain to just play 2 days of waiting just to get the Queen cutscene. Man, this is a very well done cutscene. I love the story in Dead Rising. I love the fact that they didn't need to write an interesting story about why zombies were here. They could have just been like, it's a virus, and they actually went out and did something cool. Okay, I'm back. It was like actually like a really shitty run back to get here. Just because of the fact that Apparently zombies like super aggressive, but it wouldn't be as bad if they actually like hurt me. It was just a lot of hold forward and like tap. One thing I did learn though on the way back, by myself I might add, is if I tap the D-pad, I can look around when I don't have my gun out. I guess this cutscene's also tied on. Since there's no internal clock, like the game only advances when you do missions, I don't know when a lot of stuff occurs. This kind of just like happened. I guess the missions have some kind of implied time based off what they were in the original game, but it's just an entire roller coaster to me.